Fixing my hair. Okay. Hi Fibernatics, it's Tori with Feathertail Fiber Arts, and today I'm going to give you my top 3 tips for buying your first ever raw fleece. Tip number 1 is look for a fleece with a solid staple length. Something with a healthy 3 to 4 inch staple length is going to make your processing it a lot easier. It's going to be easy to hand comb, it's going to be easy to card, it's going to be easy to spin. So this is a really good length to start with if you're looking for a good beginner fleece. Yeah, is that Mommy's pen? Are you going to take it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. Oh, and a hair binder. Thank you. Are you trying to tell me something?
Yeah.
Tip number 2 is buying your first fleece isn't a great time to think, oh, that's a fleece that I've never heard of before, a breed that I've never heard of before. I really want to try it and see what it's like. Do that. I am 100% in support of breed studies and trying new things. However, if this is your first ever raw fleece, I highly recommend trying a breed that you already may have some familiarity with, or it's similar in style to something that you've worked with. Typically, what I recommend to first-time fleece buyers, depending on how much experience you've had in the past, is don't start with a super fine wool or a long wool. Those two types take a little bit of extra care and a little bit of extra experience. Not to say that you can't start with one of those, but what I highly recommend to people is start in something around the medium to medium fine wool range, because it's really easy to process. It's a lot more forgiving than something like a merino or a cormo, which can be very finicky, especially for a beginner. So this is just the same as our staple length. This is an example of a Corriedale fleece. It is soft, it is next to skin wearable, so if you really like something that's soft, this is a good example of something that would be an easier project for you than something like merino or cormo. Some of the breeds that I recommend to people to start with, depending on your comfort level: Corriedale. Romney is another good starting point, because even though it's technically a long wool, Romney has a lot of medium wool characteristics, so it is a little bit more forgiving for first-time fiber processors. Another thing that you can start with if you want to try something that's a little bit more primitive, Shetland is also a really forgiving fleece to start with. If that's something that you've heard of and are interested in trying, that's another breed that I definitely recommend for beginners. So one of those 3 is always a good starting point. There are others, so if you're curious to know if there are other breeds I would recommend, go ahead and leave a comment down below and I will give you some more options. But the third tip that I have for you when buying your first raw fleece is this. A lot of times you will hear beginning crafters talk about this. I don't want to get a really nice thing because I don't want to wreck it. Okay? If you buy a fleece that's super, super cheap and really crappy and really full of VM, it's not going to be a pleasant experience for you processing it. Don't put yourself through that for your first ever fleece processing experience unless you are really, really into the challenge of cleaning up a raw fleece. Get yourself something that's clean, that is not going to be a pain in the neck to process. Get something that doesn't have a lot of VM so that you can just wash it, you can prep it however you would like to, and just have a really nice experience for your first fleece. Those are my top 3 tips for buying your first raw fleece. Go ahead and leave a comment or question down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And again, thank you so much for watching.
If you like this video, make sure that you sign up for our email list where you can see more videos, get some amazing discounts, or if you just want overall fiber spoilage, that's the place to be. Trust me, you won't regret it. So you can sign up over at feathertailfiberarts.com.